You wake up tonight with a strange clarity, the kind that doesn't ask permission. The streets outside look unchanged, your room untouched, yet something in the air feels misaligned, as if the world you've trusted is only a surface, and that surface just shifted. A subtle crack in the familiar, a quiet wrongness, a sense that the reality everyone else moves through is a veil you were never meant to fully accept. That feeling has followed you for years. Not fear, not confusion, but a deeper echo, like the memory of a place you belonged to long before you learned to speak of this world. Tonight, you didn't arrive here by accident. You're not here to scroll, to numb yourself, or to chase another comforting idea that cages the spark inside you. The structures around you, the rules, the rhythms, the invisible expectations, were never designed for someone like you to remain awake. There are forces that have shaped themselves around your forgetfulness, feeding on the attention you surrender without knowing. They've studied you, surrounded you, and dulled the edges of what you truly are. But something shifted. You feel it now, the faint pressure in the chest, the sudden clarity behind your thoughts, the recognition that the cracks in your reality are not malfunctions but invitations. The keys within you begin to stir, the ones placed there long before the patterns of control began to weave around your life. And once you sense them, even for a moment, everything changes. There is no returning to sleep, because the call is already rising, soft at first, then unmistakable. A reminder that your origin is not here, that your true home has been waiting beneath every illusion you were taught to trust. Tonight, you begin to remember. Close your eyes for a moment, not to escape, just to notice. The room around you is still, yet something in the silence feels aware of you. Not a presence in the shadows, but a presence inside the pause between your thoughts. The air thickens, the chest tightens, and you feel that subtle vibration beneath the sternum, the one you've ignored 1,000 times. It's not emotion, it's not anxiety. It's the signal, the first spark of remembrance. The Gnostics said this signal doesn't rise in everyone. Only in those whose inner blueprint was never fully overwritten by the world. Those who slipped through the cracks of the system, designed to keep beings like you asleep. If the feeling is rising now, warm, heavy, electric, then you're already inside the threshold. The monad is brushing against your field. And beings who feel this are never the same after. Because right as the signal awakens, the threat shows its face. Not as a monster, not as an enemy, but as the familiar. The patterns that drained you, the fears that never felt like they belonged to you, the sudden distractions that appear every time you grow close to clarity. These weren't accidents. They were engineered by the Archons, the custodians of forgetfulness, who learned long ago that the most effective prison is one you think is your life. Not bars, not chains, just loops, constant noise, endless reaction. But there's one thing they couldn't touch: the homesickness in your chest, the sense that this world never fit your shape. That faint ache is the part of you that refused to be rewritten, the part that remembers where you came from. And now, because the signal has activated, the calling begins. The hidden teachings Jesus shared only with his inner circle weren't lectures. They were keys, triggers, codes designed to wake the ones whose spark survived the fall into this realm. You're feeling this because those codes are pulling on you now. They're aligning your field, sharpening your perception, thinning the illusion around you almost imperceptibly. Pay attention to what shifts as you listen. The sudden clarity, the strange calm, the way the world outside the window feels slightly less solid. That is remembrance beginning to rise. And remembrance is the one force the Archons cannot corrupt. You're not just watching a video. You are retrieving something that was hidden from you, something that was never meant to stay lost. Tonight, you step back into the identity the world tried to erase. Throughout history, people believed they saw the whole picture, yet the Gnostic masters warned, the first layer of reality is always the most deceptive. Ordinary perception is not neutral. It is curated, filtered, shaped before a single thought reaches your awareness. Awakening does not begin with visions or symbols. It begins with the unsettling realization that your mind, as you experience it now, is not entirely your own. You think you choose what you notice, what you fear, what you desire, but the world has already chosen for you. And here's the part no one ever notices. The loops are seamless, invisible, hiding in the continuity of the familiar. The same returning thoughts. The assumptions you never question. The inner scripts that speak in your voice but originate elsewhere. The Gnostics called this the veil. A subtle architecture designed to keep consciousness occupied, predictable, contained. As long as you flow with it, you cannot see the underlying design. Not because you are incapable, but because the design hides in normality. This is where the first real crack forms. The moment you notice a thought that does not match your deeper intelligence, a loop breaks. Not fully, not permanently, but enough to sense a deeper layer beneath your lived life. From this layer rises the spark, the fragment of divine awareness that never sleeps. That crack may feel unsettling, even threatening, but it is not a wound. It is the doorway to true sight. The masters warned, do not rush past it, do not numb it, do not explain it away. Once the loop begins to break, even slightly, you are no longer fully contained. You begin to see the patterns shaping you, to sense the space between thought and observer. And from that space, a new vision becomes possible, one that pierces the veil and awakens the spark within. The Gnostic masters taught that after the first crack in perception appears, what follows is not sudden illumination, but a subtle recalibration, a quiet reorientation of inner vision that is easy to overlook. This is the moment you begin sensing the difference between perception shaped by the conditioned mind and perception arising from the inner spark. The conditioned mind reacts out of memory, habit, and inherited narratives. The spark perceives directly, without distortion. This distinction is the foundation of what the masters called true sight. The world constantly pushes you toward the first mode because it thrives on keeping you inside loops, reacting, projecting, moving with emotional momentum. But once you notice the space between thought and observer, you begin seeing how rarely your mind meets reality itself. Instead, it overlays everything with interpretations crafted by the invisible architecture around you. A person speaks, and you hear not their words but the echo of old wounds. An opportunity appears, and you don't see the present. You see the failures you still carry. Your mind is not meeting reality, it is meeting its own history. And yet beneath that overlay, another layer of perception emerges, quieter, slower, undistorted. It does not rush. It does not reach. It observes. It feels like standing at the edge of a field you never knew existed. A field where perception stretches beyond thought and begins sensing the structure behind events. It feels like stepping one layer behind the world, seeing not the events, but the blueprint beneath them. The Gnostics said this shift marks the moment when you step out of the world's narrative and into your own consciousness. From here, the visible world loses its authority, not because it fades, but because you finally see its mechanisms, how it nudges attention, shapes desire, and anchors identity so you remain predictable. Once you see these mechanisms, even briefly, the world can no longer fully shape you. You act from awareness instead of habit, from clarity instead of momentum. This is why awakening in the Gnostic sense is never dramatic. It is the slow emergence of an inner vantage point that stands outside the loops that once defined you. And from that vantage point, a deeper landscape appears. The hidden geometry of thoughts, emotions, and energies that shape human experience. The very geometry the ancients believed could either confine consciousness or liberate it. As your perception stabilizes into this deeper vantage point, the Gnostic masters said you begin to sense something that was always present yet never fully recognized. The triadic field through which all human experience flows. This field is composed of three interwoven layers: perception, identity, and environment. And awakening begins when you realize these layers are not separate but constantly shaping one another in ways you had never noticed. Your perception influences the identity you embody. The identity you embody shapes how you interpret the world. And the world you inhabit reinforces the very perceptions that keep your identity intact. Most people move through life unaware of this circular reinforcement, believing their reactions arise independently, when in truth, they are responding to a feedback loop designed to keep consciousness enclosed. As long as this loop remains invisible, it runs your life without ever asking for permission. But once you begin seeing from the inner spark rather than the conditioned mind, the loop becomes visible. You notice how a single thought can subtly shift your sense of self, how a familiar emotion can pull you back into an old identity, how the environment offers cues that quietly guide your attention toward certain meanings while hiding others. And in noticing the loop, you loosen its grip. The Gnostics taught that mastery of this triadic field is the beginning of real freedom. You step out of the identity handed to you by the world and into the identity that rises from your own inner sight. You stop being shaped by the environment and begin shaping how you move within it. You stop inheriting perceptions and start generating them from the deeper layer of your awareness. And the moment this shift stabilizes, the world does not become mystical. It becomes transparent. You see through the narratives that once guided your choices. You recognize the emotional patterns that once dictated your reactions. You feel the texture of reality without the overlays that once defined it. In this clarity, the Gnostics said, you begin to understand what the ancient texts meant when they claimed that the visible world is not the final world. It is only the first veil, and lifting it is the beginning of seeing. The moment you begin seeing the triadic field clearly, the Gnostic masters warn that the world will test you, not through obvious catastrophes, but through subtle, invisible trials that most will never notice. These tests are woven into your own mind, into familiar patterns, into emotional loops you assumed were harmless. They appear as repetitive arguments that ignite inexplicable anger, stalled opportunities, sudden distractions at the moment you are ready to act. The masters called this phase diakrisis, the discerning of what is truly yours and what is imposed by the world or the Archons. The test is never dramatic. It is always disguised as your own voice. To fail these tests is to remain asleep, carrying the illusion that effort alone is awakening. To pass them is to recognize that every disruption is a mirror, reflecting a hidden claim on your attention. You may notice a thought, a fear, self-criticism, a sense of inadequacy, and feel the familiar pull to react. The field is speaking. Pause, breathe, and ask, is this mine or planted? Is this reaction natural or a subtle nudge from forces that seek to keep you looping? When you distinguish your consciousness from these implanted signals, energy previously lost in unconscious reactions returns, and you begin operating from a frequency outside normal influence. This discernment is not merely intellectual. It is felt, embodied, recognized in subtle bodily shifts, clarity of thought, sudden alignments that once seemed chaotic, patterns of overgiving, overprotecting, overreacting, the savior pattern. Drain your spark, as does the urge to control outcomes or awaken others. Release what is not yours. Stop trying to awaken those content in sleep, with clarity, not judgment. Doors once locked within you begin to creak open. You sense the presence of the keys Jesus taught his inner circle, recognizing the spark, rejecting the Demiurge, seeing the Archons, breaking the pattern, declaring your exit. The Archons, invisible yet vigilant, will attempt interference, subtle and insidious, testing whether your discernment is genuine. You will feel the tug of doubt, the whisper of delay, the internal voice insisting, "Not now, wait, tomorrow." This is the final trial before activation, the test separating recognition from inertia. Once you navigate it, holding awareness steady despite invisible pulls, you feel the monad responding, your spark fully acknowledged, your alignment irreversible. With that shift, the path forward emerges, quiet but undeniable, leading to a threshold where the next keys await. Now the moment you have been preparing for arrives. In the Gnostic texts, this is not metaphor but activation, a sequence of recognitions that resonate with the monad and loosen the seals of forgetfulness. The first key is recognizing the spark. Feel the point of light behind the sternum, the inner chamber where awareness has always lived. Place your hand there if you wish, and simply acknowledge, "I see the light within me." No hoping, no forcing, just recognition. The second key is rejecting the Demiurge, a quiet but deliberate declaration that your origin is not this world. Say within or aloud, "I do not consent. I belong to the monad," and feel the false claim loosen from your field. The third key is seeing the Archons, the subtle interruptions, the intrusive fears, the impulses that appear out of nowhere. Notice them gently and ask, "Is this mine or imposed?" This simple question begins to unweave their influence. If you feel resistance or pressure building in your chest, that is normal. Activation disrupts the field. The fourth key is breaking the pattern. The loops of overgiving, over-explaining, or trying to awaken those not ready. Choose one loop tonight and release it with a single recognition. I release you. You are free. I am free. Let your energy return to its center. The fifth key is declaring your exit, the seal that completes the sequence. Sit or stand with your hand over your heart and state slowly, "I am monad. I return to the monad. Archons have no claim. I exit now." Let the words fall through you rather than forcing meaning into them. With this final key, your field shifts. The loops that once held you begin to dissolve, and reality reorganizes around the spark you just acknowledged. You may notice synchronicities, clarity, or an unexpected stillness. If doubt or interruption rises now, recognize it as the Archons' last attempt to reclaim your attention, proof that the activation is functioning. Let it pass. Continue anyway. And if your spark is responding in this moment, leave a sign below so others can recognize their own awakening through yours. Tonight, as the 5 keys settle into place, you step beyond the Demiurge's frequency. This is not wishful thinking. It is recognition, alignment, and the beginning of your return. As the 5 keys settle into your awareness, feel the resonance of the monad within you, a quiet hum always present, waiting for recognition. Sit or stand in stillness. Place your hand over your heart and breathe slowly, deeply, allowing each inhalation to anchor the spark, each exhalation to release remnants of old patterns. Repeat silently or aloud, "I am light, I am source, I return." Feel the mantra ripple through your being, weaving together the recognitions, declarations, and discernments you have just activated. You are now stepping into the hidden chamber, the inner circle of knowing, where the ordinary world cannot reach, and the frequency of the monad organizes reality around you. The paths that once seemed solid now feel malleable, your awareness expanded, your perception no longer confined by inherited loops. Remember that this is not an end but a beginning, a living practice of recognition, vigilance, and alignment that continues moment to moment, breath to breath, thought to thought. And as you emerge from this meditation, know that your spark will guide you, clarifying insight and shielding you from interference that cannot reach your frequency. If you have felt the spark ignite tonight, if the keys resonate and the doorway feels open, leave a sign below. Commit to your journey and join the flow of other chosen ones recognizing their alignment. Like this video so others can find the keys. Subscribe to continue receiving advanced techniques and carry this activation into your night. You are no longer in exile. You are not merely awake. You are recognized, entrusted, aligned, and free. You were never searching. You are being remembered. And when doubt whispers, return to your mantra. I am light. I am source. I return. Let these words anchor you. Let your spark guide you. And let the monad welcome you home. Tonight, the hidden doors have opened. Tonight, you return.